The most powerful moments in House of the Dragon, Episode 1. The first episode of House of the Dragon was recently released, and it's safe to say that it definitely delivered, allowing us to re-enter a world that we knew of, but this time almost 200 years prior to anything that we'd seen before. It gave us familiarity yet uncertainty at the same time. With the show already being confirmed to be getting a Season 2 after just one episode being released, and this singular episode containing many moments that stood out for multiple reasons, I thought I'd call out what I thought the most powerful moments in the entirety of Episode 1 was. So let's get into it. Here is the most powerful moment in House of the Dragon, Episode 1. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. In this first episode that we were given, we spent a lot of time establishing the time period that we were in, learning about the characters, their intentions, and where they sit within the story that we've entered. Despite it being an introductory episode, there were many moments that came close to taking the top spot of the most powerful moments in the episode, such as the moment Otto told his daughter Alicent to go and comfort King Viserys in the final third of the first installment. We'd just seen King Viserys lose his wife during childbirth, and also go on to lose the baby that was born. He was mortified by what had happened, as he was the individual who made the decision on whether or not to risk her life for the sake of the baby that was being delivered, or whether to focus on her life being saved. He saw both of them succumb to what was happening, and he entered a state of grief and mourning. From here we saw Otto Hightower, who is the hand of the king, call his daughter in and ask her to go and comfort the king in his chamber. He wanted her to be the shoulder that he needed to cry on and the aid that he likely needed following the tragic events that unfolded moments earlier. Otto gives off the feeling of a Littlefinger type of character, where he's getting his daughter to be part of his wider plan. We don't know 100% what it is as of yet, but it seems that by getting Alicent to go and comfort the king, he's wanting to ignite some kind of romantic relationship between them, despite their significant age difference, which would then also enable Otto's family to be sat alongside the king at the Iron Throne. It was the start of a wider plan that I think we're going to see unfold. Otto is aware of all of the king's comings and goings, and is one of the main people that he confides in. So this strikes me as being the beginning of the end of the world in its current form, and the 70-year peace that they spoke of. Another moment that came close to taking the top spot of the most powerful moments in the episode was when we saw Daemon letting loose on all of the criminals of every ilk as the commander of the City Watch, and commanding his men to execute them all at once in a public display. This was done with the intention of making the people of King's Landing fear the color gold, which was referring to the gold cloaks that his group of men wear. He lives in his brother King Viserys' shadow, in the sense that he's the prince and his brother is now the king, and the way that he rounded up all of the individuals and slaughtered them showed the type of mindset that he had, and I believe the pent-up anger that he holds. This also showed the level of how far his power reaches, and he expressed it in a way that went against the rules that are in place. The visuals that we were seeing were horrendous, in the sense that it was a sight that showed just how ruthless he was, and laid the foundations to the type of character that he's going to be. However, the moment that I believe was the most powerful moment in the entirety of the episode was the moment where we saw Queen Aemma giving birth to her and King Viserys' son. Many of the moments in the episode prior to this scene were alluding to the fact that something was going to go wrong during the childbirth, due to the fact that when the king and herself were conversing in the scene where they were together prior to what we witnessed, they were talking about their yearning for a son so there could be an heir, and also about how they've had several miscarriages in the past. But I didn't expect the scene to pan out the way that it did, and be as powerful as what it was. We saw the king make the decision to go down the route that would likely result in the queen losing a lot of blood, and succumbing to the procedure in favor of the baby surviving. But it was this moment specifically where it all began, where we saw her wake up from sleeping and resting, smile, look over at her husband, and then it all kicked in. The realization that he'd made a decision for her that she was not in control over, and was likely going to see her die. The screaming, panicking, and the scene unfolding on screen was hard to watch and to listen to, because it sounded torturous, and you could only imagine the pain that she was in. We saw the baby survive, but the queen sadly lost her life. But after only a short while, the newborn child didn't make it either, showing that the decision he made him lose both his wife and his newborn son, tearing his family apart completely. The emotion on his face when they were at the ceremony where they were saying goodbye spoke 1,000 words. You could see the regret of the decision that he made, and the sadness that was now upon his shoulders. It was a powerful, chilling moment that definitely stood out as being the most powerful in the first episode of the show. With this being the first episode in the show, there are definitely going to be a lot more powerful moments that do occur in the series. As I've done with many other shows that I've covered on the channel, there'll be a most powerful moment video every week throughout the entirety of the show's run. So, there you have it, the most powerful moment in House of the Dragon Episode 1. If you want to see more videos on House of the Dragon, such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you want to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What was your most powerful moment in Episode 1? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.